So Excel is nothing, but it's a computerized sheet, which is an important business tool that helps you to report and analyze information. Okay. So Excel sheet is basically, we can also say that Excel is a combination of rows and columns, okay, which is a computerized spreadsheet and is a very important tool where you can report and analyze your information. Okay. Now, Excel is a software that lets you create table. It will first help you to create a table. It will help you to analyze your data and then probably do some analysis on that, maybe help you with some calculations, help you with some data analysis. It will help you with a lot of things in it. So Excel is in itself is a very powerful tool when it comes of the work, when it comes of showing the data, when it comes of showing any of the stuff or any of that. Okay. Now that was about Excel. What is a spreadsheet? Spreadsheets are a type of application program that manipulates numeric and string data into rows and columns of cells. So either you create an Excel, you call it a spreadsheet, so they are different names, but the performance and the work is completely same. Okay. So they both have the same capability, that they will help you to enter the data and they will help you to make your data more better. Okay, better and better day by day. Now, when the value in a cell can be calculated from a formula that can evolve other cells. So you can basically have a value in a cell that can be calculated from a formula and that can evolve in other cells. A value is recalculated automatically whenever a value on which it depends changes. The value recalculate automatically. So there is one very important thing. So there is one important thing which is there, that whenever in Excel you put any formula and you want to so whenever you apply any of the formulas, okay, or whenever you do any calculations in any data set, in any data stream, what you can see is that whenever you change the formula of that data stream, basically the formula gets, like if you change any value in the column, so obviously the formula gets manipulated. Now let's see how Excel looks like. So basically, this is the system of Excel. These are called your rows. These are the rows and these are called your columns. So if I talk about rows, you have rows till you have literally like these much of rows. And if we need to have a calculation that how many rows do we have? So we have 16,384 rows that we have. And the column that we have is 10,48,576. So these are the number of columns that we have over here. The row is 16,384 and column is 10,48,576. So these are about rows and columns, and each of them over here that you see, this particular, like if you see over here, it is A1 written. So this is nothing, but it's a cell. These are called as cell. A1, B1, C1, D1, like these. These are called as your cell. They are nothing, but they are called as cell for us. Now, this is a simple Excel, simple type of an Excel sheet, which we have. Just a second. Let me just minimize it so that I can just bring them out. Yeah. So this is simple type of Excel. Here you have ribbons. So the first is file, then home. These are called as the ribbons. Inside the ribbons, you have different options available and everything. So we are going to come back onto this on a later stage, but let's see some of the things over here. So now coming on is that what I told you, that if ever you have created any formula or you have involved any value in the cell, and ultimately based on that, whatever the formula you are running, if you change the value in the cell, then it will obviously affect the formula as well. So formula is going to change as well in that case. Okay. Now, a common scenario of using an Excel includes, for example, you are doing an accounting. For example, like you have a cash flow, you have an income, you have a PL statement, you have marketing events, you have retirement, you have all these stuff. Then you have income, you have a profit and loss statement you want to run for. So for that, you can use for budgeting, like for any of the marketing things, for any events that you are running. If you are doing it for a retirement, you can do it for that. So for all of these stuffs, you can do it. Then if you want to do it for billing and sales, so you can do for that also. Wherein you will have a sales invoice, you can have a purchase order and all of that. Then for the reporting purposes as well, for example, like for the project performance, if you want to do a forecasting of the data, for all of them also, we use the reporting section for that part. Then coming on to planning. Planning is basically on the weekly report, yearly report, etc. So basically for the yearly, weekly reports that we do or that we work for is your planning section that comes into picture. Now for the tracking of the data set. Tracking means if you want to have a timesheet to do all the list of sales or the list of works, all of them, then in that case also, we use basically these tracking timesheets and all of them in our case, and we work on that. Okay. So these are some of the scenarios, or these are some of the sections in which we basically work and in which we basically look forward to work for it. Okay. So now let's see for the next section. Now Excel stores a spreadsheet in a document called as a workbook. Okay, so Excel has a workbook, and inside the workbook, you have various worksheets in them. So there are workbooks, and then you have various worksheets in them. So what are the workbook worksheets in them that you will able to see? So we can see that. So just a second. Let me show you how you can see it and how we can see that as well. Yeah. So if you click on this hyperlink, sorry. That. So see, this is actually the screen where it shows you everything. Everything means whatever data you have, whatever the things you have in the data set, whatever the data sets you have, everything that is there, it will show you that all stuffs over here. Okay. So now, let's say if I see for this is my row number. This is my name of the box here where we are seeing an A1. This is the name of the box that I'm getting for. This is the file button. These are called as the quick access toolbar that we have. Okay. Then they have a quick access toolbar. Then you have over here as column letter. So these A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H is a column letter that is shown over here. Then these are basically called as your quick like column letters that you have, and these like insert, page layout, formula, data, review, view, all of this is nothing but they are actually your basically a tab list. And this is your title bar which contains the information about the title and all of them, like what is the title of the data and what is the title, what is it's available. what is the title of the file. If let's say you save the file in a different name, like let's say I make it in form of a different name. I save it like, let's say I save it as ABCD. So here your title bar will change from book one to ABCD, Microsoft Excel, non-commercial use. So like that way, it will be changed. So book one is a by default name. Okay. Then here you have an option to minimize the ribbon. Here you have an option to help, which is a question mark. Here you have an application minimizing, so you can minimize the Excel. Okay. Then here you have a window minimizing. If you want to minimize the window, you can do that. Then this one is to maximize or restore your application. Then this is to close your application. So this cancel bar. So basically this close as application, to close this application basically whenever you want to close it. Okay. So these are some of the information. Then if I talk about this is called as an active cell. These are your sheet tab scroll button where you can scroll your sheets. Then you have an insert new worksheet button. These are for your formulas. These are basically formula ribbon that we call, and these are called as the scroll bars. These are called as a vertical scroll bar. So this is a horizontal scroll bar and this is a vertical scroll bar that you have. Then here you have the application of applying like a page view button, a horizontal, and then you have a status bar over here. Then you have a zoom option. You want to zoom in, zoom out, either which ways you want to do it. So you can do that in any which way. So if I show you in the form of Excel, so this is how the look of it, and this is how it comes up. So these are your ribbons. They have this minimize option. You can minimize it. You can maximize it. You can close it. Then you can close this option. You can restore down. You can restore maximize up. Then you have an option to file, in which you have an option to save. So saving your file as in any which ways, like if you want to save your file in any which name, any which ways, then you can save it in that form. Then you have save as option. So if you have already saved your file and you want to save it in a different name, then you can use a save as option for that purpose. Then you have an option to open. So if you want to open any of the existing file or any Excel file that you have, you want to open that, so you can open it from here. Then you have an option to close. If you want to close that, you can close it. So this will close your Excel file from here as well. Then in the information, you get like what is the recent file that you have opened. So whatever the recent file you have opened recently for any of the data set or any, you will get the list of over here. And also, what is the location of those files, like where it was recently placed, you will get information about that. If you want to open any new file, which can be a blank file or maybe it can be any templates that you want to click for. So if you want to have a budget creation, then you can just click this templates, which basically Excel provides. So Excel is a free software. We don't need a license. We have a free licensing software, but if there is a license, like for example, when you take an Excel in a normal way, like when you have Office 365, which is now associated with consisting of all the package consisting of Excel, Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, and all of the other stuff. So you need to download them. So in that case, you sometimes have to buy the license. But initially, Excel is a free tool. So in Office, obviously, as our Excel are synced with our Microsoft Outlooks or Gmail Outlooks, so obviously they are a part of a package and they have a license over there. That's why you need to sign in over there and you need to work on. But in general, on the laptop, you can simply get it as a free software for yourself. So that's why you get some templates from the Excel itself. So these templates are like if you want to create some agendas. So for that, we have some Office templates available. Then if let's suppose I want to get a budget template or maybe a calendar template. or expense template, or for faxes, forms, inventories, invoices. If I want to have like a template, I can do that. Or maybe if I want to have some more templates, I can do that also. So for this, you need to connect to office.com. Once you connect to this office.com, it will help you to figure out the way that how you can get onto this template. So basically, you need to first have a connection to the office.com. Once you do the connection to the office.com, then it will be easy. Okay. So that's how basically it works. Now, next is of printing. Printing is where you can print. Like if you have an Excel file, you can print it. You can connect to a printer and you can basically print this. So you can print it as a form of a PDF or in the fax or any XPS document, any which ways. Or if you want to print only the active sheets, you can print that. If you want to print the entire workbook, you can print that. Or maybe if you want to print any selection, that any current selections you have printed, or maybe in an Excel file you have highlighted anything, you can properly print that. And then you can provide an option that how from which page to which page you want to print it. Either you want to collate it, you want to uncollate it, you want to have a portrait orientation or landscape, letter, normal margin, no scaling. So these are all basically your options, and you have the page setups. So you can either go to this options of settings and page setups. You can set up your header, footer, sheet and everything, and accordingly you can make a print to for print and on. Now the next option that we have is save and send. Save and send is once you save it, you are directly going to send that mail out. So either you send it using a mail, you send it to a web page, you send it to a SharePoint, or you can change the file type from one to another, or you can create a PDF document from this Excel file. So many a times we create a PDF from an Excel file. So we have seen that we are converting the Excel into a PDF and all of them. So what does that mean? That means is that we are basically converting that, or we are creating that complete Excel file into a PDF form of a type, so that we can easily work on that. Now in send using emails, you have option that send as an attachment. First of all, if you want to send as a link, so you need to first of all saved it in any shared location. See, send as a PDF, send as an XPS copy. XPS is a hyper extract formatting file, which consists of the images, formatting and everything. And if you want to send it in a form of a fax, you can send them in a form of a fax also. Now, if you want to save to a web, so then you have to log into that web and then you can do it. If you want to save to a SharePoint, so you should have a SharePoint location to save for. Now, if you want to change the file type, so see, these are the other file types in which you can save it, like a text, like a CSV, a formatted text app, or an Excel 97-203 workbook, open document spreadsheet, a macro enabled work, a binary workbook, a template, anything. In whatever way you want to save it, in that way you can basically save that, okay, and do it. Then you have to, if you want to create a PDF or XPS document, so PDF document if you want to create or you want to do it, so accordingly you can create it from here as well. Whatever PDF document you want to create for, or the XPS document you want to create for, you can simply do it from here. Then this is an help option where you get help from Microsoft. You have some options of the tools if you want to add for, wherein you can generally add like a mini toolbar on a selection. If you want to have a color schema change to maybe blue, or screen type, like any screen tips, or use the font, like whatever the body font you want to change for the size of that font, the default view of a new sheet you want to change, include this in many sheet, include this many sheets. If you want to have like one sheet only at a time, then you can use it. Then for the formulas also, you have an option to change the formulas, like it can be automatic calculation, automatic except for the data types, or it can be a manual calculations, how many number of iterations should be there, when you're working with the formulas, what all formulas should you get? Should you get a pivot table reference functions whenever you're working with pivot tables, or maybe for the error checking, whatever is indicated, what color it should be highlighted for, what colors it should be there for, then if you have an error checking rules and everything of that sort. So basically for each of them, or for each of these things, you need to have a check on that, and you need to have those rules available so that you can work on them very easily and get it. Then next is proofing. Proofing is something when you want to change the format of the Excel, or maybe you want to autocorrect something in Excel. So let's say if there is any uppercase letters, there is any lowercase letters, and you want to ignore them, or maybe you want to have an autocorrect option enabled, like the way we have an autocorrect option in our phone which is enabled, and it gives us an autocorrect option if we enable or disable it. Similarly, in Excel also, we can have that autocorrect option that can help you to autocorrect your data accordingly and as per your requirements. Then whenever you want to correct a spelling, you want to ignore like the uppercase, you want to ignore the words that contain numbers, you want to ignore the internet and file address, you want to have a flag repeated words, you want to enforce any extended uppercase in French, you want to suggest from any main dictionary only. So all of these you can basically have a point for, and you can look for them as well. You can have a change for them, you can have a look for them, you can do as per your choice. Then if you want to have a French modes, like traditional and new spellings, if you want to check for, or maybe any Spanish mode. So whenever you want to work with a different language, or it's not only us that who are working on these, but there are many people around who work with the different languages as well. So for them, there is a customer dictionary, which is an inbuilt dictionary inside the Excel itself, which helps you to actually see and attain a dictionary at that level, and will help them in the basically in the proofing of the data. So proofing is basically section for the data proofing. Basically, it helps you with the data correction, data proofing, for all these stuffs. Basically, that proofing helps. So whenever you enter a data or anything, and then whenever there is an error that comes in, so that error is actually shown to you by Alteryx. Okay. Then if let's say you want to save anything, so in save also you have a lot of options where you want to save. If let's say you have an auto recovered files, then where it would be saved. Now what are auto recovered files? So auto recovered files are basically those files which get saved whenever you forgot to save the Excel file, or maybe your Excel crashes and you are unable to save the workflow on which you're currently working. So you forgot you are currently working on some files, and then you were unable to save that due to some issue. Like basically the issue might be that your Excel crashed, or maybe your Excel hang up, or something of that sort. Due to that reason, you were not able to save that file. So as you were unable to save that file, so for that reason, you can save it like this way, that you can have an auto recovered file from where you can auto recover your file at whatever point you want. Okay. So that is called as a auto recovered section for us, where we can auto recover our file. So here in by default, it gets auto recovered mainly in your admin app data support. So for me, it auto recovered over here, and it will be auto recovered for everyone by this only, because that's a by default place. But if you want that it should get auto recovered to some different locations, then obviously you can provide that location. You can just provide the path of that location, and it will get saved in that path of location only. Then if you want to disable the auto recovered workbook, or you want to check for the office document, so where are the caches being saved, you want to choose a color of the version or anything of that sort, you can do all of them. Then the next we come up is a language. So basically by default, whenever you set up your Excel, then in that case, there are different languages that are set up over here or which are enabled. For me, it is English US by default and English India that are being installed. Now, if you want to set anything or you add any additional languages, you can select it from here and you can add them on. Once you click, you can add them, they will get installed. Okay. Then there are some advanced options, like after pressing enter, move the selection, down arrow key. So what are the different shortcut keys that you can use whenever you want to have some exceptions or whenever you select or whenever everything is there? So you can have a enable, fill, handle, and cell drag and drop, allow editing direct in cells, extend data range formats and formulas that can be extended. So these are basically the by default settings that have been already done in an Excel. When you get the Excel in your system, these are the by default settings that are being done. Now, in any which case, if you want to change them, if you want to modify them, then you can just go ahead in the section of Excel options and you can modify them as per your choices. Okay. For the image, for cut, copy, paste, for printing, for creating charts, for displaying anything, for displaying options, for any of that stuff, you can do any of them. Then if you want to have customized ribbons, so you see there are ribbons, there are lots of things. Now, if you want to have some customized ribbons from here that you want to show in the chart, for example, from here, if I want a developer, if I want some, I have all of them. Let's say I want a developer in this. So I just check it and I move it over here. So basically once I check and I just maybe rename or I can say import export and I can just move it up and down. So whatever ways I want to just do it, I can do that. In fact, there are some popular commands that can be there, like all charts. I want to add them. So I can do that from here. Now from here, if I want to remove anything, I can remove that. So that is also an option. Either you can add it, you can remove it, or you can create a new tab. In fact, you can reset that, you can delete that tab. So you have all these options available if you want to do that. So if I right click on that particular tab and I want to not show that tab or not want to click that tab, so I can do that also. So this is something which is there as a customized way. Now there's a quick access toolbar. Quick access toolbar, you generally have like a quick access toolbar you see over here that I have save, undo, and redo. Apart from that, if you want to have anything like, for example, I want to add the freeze paint, like freeze paints option also, insert cell option also, then this is something which I done. Now, the most important and the very interesting part of Excel, which comes up, is an add-in. Add-in is something which is like any type of an application that you want to install as an add-in option in Excel. Add-in means, like, for example, any sort of an application that you want to connect with Excel to work for is termed as an add-in. Okay, so what type of add-in you see for that fact? So add-ins are basically those data sets wherein you can add your data and you can work accordingly with the data files and each of them stuff. So that's why it is called as an add-in for us. Now, how these add-ins basically work? So these add-ins are nothing. If you click on the add-ins, then it will allow a small add-in inside the data and it will help your data to connect with any of the applications that you have. There is comms add-in, there is Excel add-ins. You can go and you can see like analysis tool, VBA, Euro currency tool, solver add-in. You can click on this, you can add that add-in. So this add-in will be added to your data set. So this is how basically Excel performs. And this is how basically your Excel works. So these comes as an option to us as an add-in option. Then we have Trust Center. Trust Center is basically your security center where you can provide the securities. You can create your own securities. If you want to show a message bar, if you want to show any options, if you want to have an external context, any privacy options about the document, any translation options, any password protection you want to apply for. So all these stuffs basically falls under the options. Now, after option, you have exit. If you want to exit it, then you can simply exit. Apart from that, here in info, I have some permissions, like I can protect my workflow, encrypt it with a password, or maybe I can encrypt a current sheet with a password, or I can restrict the permissions for the people that who can restrict it, who can see that Excel or who can't see that Excel, or I can have a digital signature. So whenever you see that we create some Excel files where you need to add your digital signature, like in a form, like in a Google form or something of that sort. So that therein we create this digital signatures by this section, and then it helps us to work with them. Okay. So that helps in a way that will help you to look for and will help you to work for in a way. And this is how these add-ins at each of the work is created. Okay. So basically what we were discussing over here is about all these options and all these terms that we talk about it. Now let's talk about our first ribbon tool, which is a home. So in home, we get an option to paste. Now, right now the paste option is gray out, because if I would copy something and I would paste, then only the paste option will be shown over here. It will be blackened for us. Now here you have cut, you want to cut something, you want to copy something, copy as a picture or copy as a text, anything of that sort you can copy. There's an option of format painter. Now what is a format painter? Let's say if I have something written and it has been in a particular format, like center, line, bold, and all of them. So like that way, if it is written, then in that case, it is always that you want to set up that format for a complete template, or maybe if you are entering a new detail, the format of that might be different. So to enter that format again, you need a format painter for that. For example, let's say I'll enter some entry. Let's say I have name. Now, let's suppose I make this as center. Okay. And probably I change that to italic. Now, if let's suppose I want to paste the same format over here for this name, what I can do is that I can just click on this and I can click on this. So it will help you with the formatting of that particular column with whatever format you have assigned for a particular data, or maybe there is an existing format that is available so that you can make the data look in a consistency. Now here you have some different fonts that are available. For whatever font you want to change your data type, you can change it. Like you want to have Arial black or anything of that sort, you can change it. In fact, you can change the size. If you want, you can change that accordingly. Then you have bold. You want to make it bold, you want to make it italic, you want to make it underlined. So as per your requirement, you can do it. In fact, in underlined also, you can have a double underline, you can have a single underline. So that's up to you what you want to do for. Okay. Then these are called as borders. If you want to add some borders, like if you want to have a bottom border, if you want to have a top border, you want to have a left border, if you want to have a right border. So this will help you to create a borders along. Then if you want to have no borders, then it will have no borders. All borders, then it will have all borders. Then it says outside borders. So it will have only outside borders, no inside borders. If you want to have like thick borders, you can have them a thick border. So these are different types of borders that you have over there. You can draw your borders as well if you want accordingly. If you want, you can draw your borders also as per your choice. If you want, you can draw your borders. Okay. Then you have these options. These are basically to increase the font and decrease the font size as per your choice. Then if you want to fill anything with a color, you can fill it like this way. And if you don't want to go to no colors, you have more options when you go to more colors. Now, if you want to highlight your text, or if you want to text the color of the, if you want to color your text basically, so then you use this like this way. Then these are for your alignments, basically a top align, center line, left align, right align, middle line, left line, like this way. So these are basically the alignments that we have. And this is for your orientation. So if you want to have the align counterclockwise like this way, clockwise like this, anti-clockwise, clockwise, vertical text. If you want to rotate the text, if you want to rotate text down, if you want to format cell alignments, so you can do all of them. So you can format it over here with the alignments and everything. Okay. Then these are the options wherein you can decrease the indent or increase the indentation. This is the indentation, like how much it will be aligned to the left, how much it will be aligned to the right. That is the indentation that we talk about. So that's how it works. Okay. Then herein, these are the option to wrap a text. Wrap a text means it will be wrapped in the center and it will be shown to you. That is called as wrap text. Then you have merge in center. Merge in center is if you want to merge anything to the center, you can merge this. Or maybe you want to merge a column like this way. So it will be merged in center. Or maybe you want to merge across. You want to merge cells. You want to have unmerged cells, then it will unmerge. Then these are basically for the like whatever the formats you have entered, accordingly you can change your formatting of that data set and you can get more formats according to that. If you click on general and then you want to get some more formatting sets in general section, you can have that. Or maybe if you want to customize your formats accordingly, then you can customize it as well on your choice. Now here, this is for accounting formats. Like if you want to have an accounting number, you want to have a dollar, US, all of these, so you can have that. Then if you want to add a percentage sign, comma, you want to increase decimal, and if you want to decrease decimal, for all of these stuff, we use this. This is for your conditional formatting. Now, conditional formatting is something which is a formatting that we do based on any conditions. Like there can be cells which are highlighted based on a rule wherein for a particular cell, I have an highlighted rule that, okay, if my value is greater than equal to 100, then those cells should be highlighted. So that's a rule which I have created wherein I'm highlighting the table based on any of the highlighted cell or anything. So that is called as a conditional formatting. Then if you have a top bottom rules or rulers that can be applied, or maybe on the data bars, like for the complete data set you want to apply for, or you should have a color scale wherein for each of the rule you will have a different color to show for. Icon set, if you have some icons to show for, like here we have an options of icons, arrows, like directions, shapes, indicators, like that way. And if you want to have more rules, so you can have the icons available, like whatever the styles you want to show for, you can have your icons available according to that. Okay. Then format as a table. So you can format over here. There are like a lot of options of formatting, so you can do that. Then there are cell types of formatting, the way you want to format a cell. You want to insert any cell, insert a sheet row, insert a sheet column, insert a sheet, delete. You want to format anything, like you want to format the height of the row, you want to auto fit the height of the row, column width, everything that you want to format for organize the sheets and everything. So all of them you can do it over here. Okay. In fact, if you want to protect your sheet, so you can do that. If you want to lock a cell, you can do that. Then there is an auto sum. Auto sum is you can do sum, average, count, minimum, maximum, whatever you want to do. Then fill, if you want to fill up, left, right, series, justify, whatever. Want to clear something, you can clear all the formats. Then you have sort and filter over here to sort. If you want to find and select something, then you have find, replace. If you want to go to a sheet, if you want to go to any formulas, any comments, anything you need, sheet you have created, any objects you have created for any of the stuff, you can go to any of these according to your requirement. Okay. So that was for the home section. Okay. So that is basically for your home section. Now, let's talk about some of the other stuff. Yes, so like the way we were doing in there, wherein we have seen all the options of home. Now, let's see the next option where we have insert. Okay, so let's go to that. Now, insert section is basically where you want to insert some of the things, like you want to insert table, you want to insert pictures, you want to insert you want to insert some shapes on the data set, you want to have something as a smart art, you want to have some screenshots. All of these comes under the section of the insert. So in the insert section, you have all of them as available. Next, wherein you can insert like a pivot table. So this pivot table, we are going to catch up in detail what is a pivot table and how we actually accomplish the pivot table. So that we are going to surely do it. Then next we have an over here is the tables. If you want to enter any table or if you want to create a table of your own, you want to enter a picture over here, maybe of your choice, or you have saved it across. You want to enter any like a sort of any shapes over here. If you want to have any smart arts entering over here. So you can do that. If you want to have some screenshots that is available, you want to so if you have a screenshot available, you can take that and you can enter it. Otherwise, you can have a screen clipping wherein you can take a screenshot of it and you can enter it. Like this way, I can enter a screenshot also. Then I have columns that I can enter. I have lines that I can enter. I have a pie, I have bar, I have area. So like this way, I can enter all of them. So these are different types of chart section that you can enter. Then there are sparklines. Sparklines is nothing but a one of a chart which has lines in them, like line, column, win loss. So these are all the sparklines that we say. Then we can add some slicers. Like if we have any connection with any workbook or anything, we can have some slicers. We can insert a hyperlink. We can have a text box. We can add headers and footers into our data set. Like this way. Or we can have any word art or any signature line. You can add your signatures. You can add any objects over here. Now, object is something which is like an bitmap image or a Microsoft graph chart or PowerPoint presentation, something of that is called as an object. Or you can insert your own file as well as an hyperlink. Then you can have equations. You can write them as well. And you can insert some symbols if you want to. So these are some various types of insertion that is there in picture that you can enter, that you can design, that you can have in them. So these are basically called as your directions, data, or something of that sort that we generally enter. Okay. Now, the next thing that we have is a page layout. Page layout basically comes as a part wherein you decide how you're going to inform with a page or how you're going to work with a page. So basically how the page should look, what should be the page orientation, what should be the size of the page, what should be the margins on the page, what should be the print area on the page, any background if you want to add for any of these stuffs, then you can go ahead with the page layout. In fact, for a purpose wherein you want to add something of a sort of margins, you want to adjust your width, you want to adjust your height, you want to scale up your data, you want to have a grid lines, like for this, these are called as grid lines. If you want to remove them, if you want to add them, if you want to have it in a print format, we don't want to have it in a print format. If you want the views to be there of the headings, you don't want it. Bring forward, send backward, any of these tasks you want to do for, obviously you can do it in any which ways and in any which form as well. So that's what is called as your basic page layout and the page sections that we all have. Okay. Now these were some of there that we have as an overview sheet, which is a data tab. Now data tab is basically where you can import the data from any external sources, but not limited to a text file. So basically, there is no limitations of providing you with a text only with a text file, that you can only access with a text file, but it is limited that you can not only access a text file, you can also use a Microsoft Access database, you can use a web pages, you can use an XML document, you can use any Microsoft query, you can use any SQL Server database, whatever you require, you can download it or move it that way. Now, if I see on Excel, the data tab, if you go to this, see, you can access it from an Access, you can access it from a web page, you can access it from a text, you can access it from any other sources. So from all of that pages, you can do it. So in any which way, this is very much helpful and this is very much needed also. So from wherever you want to access your data or you want to see your data or something of that sort, so you can basically do that. Okay, any which ways you want to fill for the data set, fill for access from Access, maybe any web page location, maybe you want to access a text file in it, you want to access from any other data sources. In any other data sources means like from any different data sources, like from your SQL server or any of the connections or anything, then in that case we use this for the any other data sources option. Then if you have any existing connection, so you can see for any existing connection, accordingly you can do that. Now refresh all is basically whenever you want to refresh your connections and you want to work accordingly. So that is called as refresh all. Okay. So wherein we can refresh the connection. So if you have any which ways made a connection through your this any of the Access database or any of the thing or any of the other services or any of the databases or anything, then in that case it is pretty simple that you can just refresh that data set and you can easily work with it. So that is called as a refreshing of those connections. Just click on refresh and you have an option to refresh all or maybe just simple refreshing the data. Okay. Now, the next is our review tab. So let's see that. Let me move this down. A review tab basically is a tab that will let you proofread your Excel workbook. So whatever the proofing, for example, if you want to have any Excel spelling check in the data, if you want to add anything, if you want to delete any comments, if you want to protect your data, if you want to unprotect your Excel sheets or any workbooks, and finally allow the user to track the changes in multi-user Excel workbook. So in that case, you can use a review tab for that purpose. Okay, so that's the review tab. Basically, this review tab comes on over here, wherein you have all these options and you can check for all these options as well, wherein you can review whatever you want and you can review the data in whatever way, whatever spell check, any comments, anything you want to mention for, you can simply mention that and it will show you up in that data set or it will work for you in that data set along. Okay, so that is called as the review section, where you can have autocorrects, protecting of the sheet, protecting of the workbook, share your workbook. So whatever ways you want to have it, you can simply have that way.